Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the ESL Pro Tour Europe Weekly Cup Grand Finals. I'm Nathanias, and we are here with a fantastic Terran versus Protoss of a German variety to present to you. In the bottom right, we have Big Gabe himself, HeroMarine. And in the top left, we have the red Protoss player, known as Dimawa. He is Showtime. We've had some really fantastic games today. Some StarCraft 2, Legacy of the Void. And I have to say, what an awesome final to get. We were getting, I think Creighton Olsen was spitting some fun facts in the lobby chat before we got started. But apparently, there are only 4 EPT Europe Weeklies that have not featured HeroMarine or Showtime in the Grand Finals. These two players are easily amongst the most consistent in EPT Europe placements. And unsurprisingly, here they are again. There's that core before Nexus, the new meta, as it were. The new Protoss meta game versus Terran. And that's kind of wild, you know. I didn't really think that even one good run would have such a profound impact on the way that Protoss players are opening versus Terran. That probe getting roughed up. But man, yeah, Parting's impact is definitely shown. Protoss players around the world have been struggling for quite some time, so finding some new ways to dance around and try and curb the meta game definitely been nice. Of course, there's a pretty fantastic patch that should be helping Protoss a lot coming out soon. Unless they removed everything. I don't know. I haven't had internet for a few weeks. This is my first day back casting the EPT. I'm happy to be here. I've only been able to watch a couple of the GSL matches, but I hope you guys have been enjoying today's broadcast. I've been having a lot of fun. Let's finish strong, shall we? HeroMarine's Reaper's going to come up and see, hey, oh, that shield battery's almost done. Now, if he could get a probe before it finishes, that would be pretty fantastic, but I don't think he's going to be able to. Nope, shield battery. And that's actually really well done, because this Adept's going to push forward. There's only one Marine. He's building a reactor, but he's going to have to bring some extra SCVs to fight. And I think that, yeah, that's exactly what's happening right here. So he wants to delay the command center, first and foremost. The bunker would be nice, but it isn't really necessary to kill it. And I think the Stalker killed the Reaper, so this Adept definitely did a nice little bit of damage. Not too much. There's actually nothing else that could have done anything here, but he did not want to risk getting surrounded by the SCVs, which I also think is a completely understandable position to take. That Twilight Council coming up. And I wonder if we're going to see a full parting Blink Stalkers with Warp Prism and just go try to bash that Terran skull in with a 2-base 4-gate, as that is definitely something that has become more and more popular. I mean, you get that Blink faster, you get the Stalkers out faster. Suddenly, that Widow Mine drop that Terran players love to do, well, instead of hitting right before Blink, Blink Stalkers show up and kill the medevac before it can even start to unload. And that could definitely be really, really, really hard to deal with. So, this is the grand finals, as we were talking. They did change a couple of things, but the finals still stay at the best of 5, I believe. At least that's what someone told me. So we've got the second and third gateway finishing. There's the 4th gateway. Yeah, no, this is... I'm going to tell you, the only Terran versus Protoss that I've been able to watch was that GSL series, and it looks like Showtime is going for a verbatim, straight out of that build that Parting was up to earlier. Now, there's a tank and a Liberator on the way, but it's going to be really hard to defend against this style if a single mistake is made by HeroMarine. He's going to go for the 1 mine drop, but Blink is going to be done by the time he gets there. And I don't know, man. I'm just looking at this, and I'm feeling some fear. I guess the Stalkers are on the middle of the map, so this mine drop could still unload, which is... But I'm almost wondering if he wishes he had that medevac somewhere else. So the Hellion's going to get to work on some probes, and the shield battery is going to get drained of its energy. He kept the tank in the main, because he's fine to defend the natural with SCV repair, it looks like. Ah, he's shooting the Adept now. If you shoot all the probes, right, you're dealing, like... what is it, 14 damage to like 6 different units. And yeah, you can burn through the energy pretty quickly with that. But he's just going to come up here, yeets himself onto the bunker before SCVs can come repair. Now, there was a second bunker made, so he was thinking about this, but that siege tank, he just steps forward and kills it. And I think partying-esque is the best way to describe this. He's sending the Liberator out to harass. He still has the mine in the medevac, so he's trying to force Showtime to keep units at home. He's trying to keep units here to defend, while at the same time pushing and making big attacks. You know the Stalkers can be really strong versus these bunker-type setups, but good hold so far by Big Gabe, as he is not going to crack under the pressure just yet. Now, I will say, if I have something to be concerned about or worried about, it's the fact that Gabe has not been able to really start what he wants, right? He's getting this Banshee, and I feel like that was a panic Banshee. Yeah, he cancels it. Because here's the issue. Stim is only just now about to start. So if you're Showtime, take that third base, play the big contain, poke, prod, do everything. And look, there's not this siege tank. Look where the tank's range is. He can't do anything here. He could probably, he could go for the command center and force all the SCVs to come out and try to repair, kill a gas, delay the Terran tech, wind up. And that command center is actually taking a beating. Oh, he blinks forward. He doesn't get the tank, and the other tank actually gets quite a bit of damage done. Showtime still has most of the Stalkers intact, even though we've got the Skittles army over here. Very injured force. Blinks forward, grabs another tank, but that's where he takes some pretty serious losses. This Liberator pushed back. The Widow Mine drop erased. Has to send the medevac home by itself. Now, Showtime definitely lost a lot of Stalkers to make this happen. And I don't even, that between the trades that he's been able to get, it's actually still pretty good for Gabe. His stim is halfway done. I definitely think the second blink onto the other tank here that's going to be something that he might end up regretting for a while if he doesn't manage to pick up this game. Killing the engineering bay would be nice. That's +1 attack right there. At the very least, attacking it will force him to bring units over, and then you just poke and prod and prod and poke and poke and prod and prod. Unfortunately, misses the low health Stalker, and it does get popped. So he's sharking around with this prism, but I gotta tell you, I really thought he would have a lot more. I really thought that he would have a lot more in terms of probes behind this, but between that harass, it's seemingly been a lot harder than expected. So he's got a Colossus. Thermal Lance is on the way. Third Nexus is done. Now, my question is whether or not HeroMarine is going to try to go for like just one of those mega all-in attacks. Like he's building a turret. Well, the turret in his natural. I don't know if that was for a possible observer or for something else, but these Stalkers are still poking away. Okay, there's the third command center. That was my big concern, because if he just chills, the third Nexus is definitely gonna. Oh, the Liberator is back. Yeah, that Liberator's got 8 kills. Okay, so this Liberator actually really helping a lot. I think HeroMarine's counter harass has been really nice. If Showtime was able to just power out probes and get his tech up without any counter harass during that whole Warp Prism shenanigans, I think he might actually be like pushing to win the game right now. But instead, HeroMarine's actually in a pretty good spot. He's not too far behind economically. 10 workers is the average. You're usually down about that many versus Protoss. That's just the way it works. If this mine drop gets a big hit, though, it's not going to. But if the mine drop had gotten a big hit, that would have been nice. Just going to kill a couple probes. Not too bad. Yeah, leave the mines behind. Just walk away. So I think that Liberator did finally die, unless he brought it back. Yeah. But he's got a big army. There's a lot of stuff here. There will be 3 Colossi, though, with range. No upgrades. But, yeah, I guess if you spread out. That's the thing about Nightshade, though. If he's able to get a big concave here, it is possible. So a lot of this, if you look, there's not really any meat under these. But he's starting to get the Zealots out. He has charge. So everything's going to boil down to positioning and force fields. If he's somehow able to get on the Colossi with this army, the game is over. But fighting here is still scary because force fields can be big, right? He wants to use the siege tanks. He wants to have the Marauders up front. I do like this, though. He's going to try and shark these medevacs around the north side. It's very risky. There's nothing to heal this bio now, and that pylon might have seen it. The Colossi can at least come up here to try and help. They can walk up the cliff, but then that might expose this base. He needs to be careful. There you go. 16 Marines dropped inside of the main. He's going to stim forward. Not sure he's going to focus fire here. Siege tanks are trying to hit the Colossi. There's the target fire coming in. He just needs to yeet forward. He needs to get those Colossi. There you go. The Zealots are all gone. One Colossus very low. The second one gets saved by the Prism, but can he juggle both Colossi at the same time? He's doing his best, but it's not going to be enough for those. All three Colossi die. The third base is in shambles. GG, HeroMarine takes game number 1, exploding out of his base after a very difficult contain brought onto him by his Protoss opponent. Ooh. Wild games. Wild games. You gotta click that lobby. You gotta click that lobby link in the chat instantly. A lot of hungry casters here. Good start to the match, though. We are in the lobby for game number 2. All right, we're loading into the game. Let's do it. Ladies and gentlemen, we are loading in your map 2. HeroMarine in the top left, Showtime in the bottom right. This is the grand finals for the ESL Pro Tour Weekly. Week of June 8th, 2020. It's Monday, and there's StarCraft. What more could you possibly ask for? If you're European, it's Monday night StarCraft. If you're Nathanias, it is currently 1:47 p.m. here in Las Vegas, Nevada. Wow, it's actually really cold outside. It's only 72 degrees. Jeez, I'm gonna have to go for a walk. It's been like 110 degrees for the last week and a half. It's funny how it works out here. Funny how it works. As we have barracks, gas, no proxy there. Early probe scout, pylon gate, gas, very standard. Will he go for the cyber core first? That's the question. It's funny because honestly, in the hands of Parting, he makes that build look insane. But I think HeroMarine really did a fantastic job of defending himself, holding himself together, keeping that position alive, keeping things going. And I love to see it. You know, I just love to watch good StarCraft. That to me is the best feeling. You know, I don't like it when any one race is too dominant. I don't like it when I don't get to see new players. But man, the consistency that these two individuals have, especially throughout the foreign circuit, is just awesome. It's fantastic, you know. And frankly speaking, yeah, Big Gabe's branding definitely blew up in the last year and a half with those interviews about Big Gabe. And I love it. I love it. So it is the core first again. He could try to do something similar. You know, Showtime had some pretty big opportunities. I think if he was just less reckless with his stalkers, I actually think he could have tried to poke HeroMarine's army. Not necessarily to death because he didn't move out until he had stim, but I think he could have just poked and prodded at him with those, 15 to 20 stalkers pretty well. So I'm not even going to say that Showtime's build was bad. I just think that he might have gotten a little bit carried away. Maybe he thought he was going to win the game with that attack, but that second time when he blinked in to kill like the third or fourth siege tank last game was when everything fell apart, because he had a lot of stalkers that he had kept alive. But most of them were actually at like 20 hit points and like 40 shields, and then that siege tank blasts for 70 damage, and like, oh, yeah, most of them are dead now. Yeah, half my stalkers are dead. So the Reaper is here to try and poke and be annoying, but at the last second, once again, the shield battery saves the day. Look at this build, like the defensive. You rush out that first battery so you can chrono out the Adept. I love everything about this build. It's really good. This is a really good build versus Terran. The Terran can't do anything to you with their Reaper. Because you went Cybercore first, you're completely fine against a proxy or any real cheese for that matter. It does look like, yeah, he's going to kill this Adept, which will be nice. Delay the natural, not really too much. What's funny is there is one Protoss player that I know who has sworn by Cybercore before Nexus for a very long time. and his name is Rotterdam. He's a very, very smart individual, very big outside the box thinker. And I know it just makes me happy. I'm gonna give a little shout out to Roddy. I know parting proved you right. Roddy's been doing it the right way for a long time. It was always hard to play against Kev because you can't cheese him very effectively when he always opens with a cyber core first. And you can do it in a macro way, just like parting does. So, I mean, the 2-base 4-gate with the warp prism is not an all-in if you can do any real degree of damage. He's going to start to spread a little network of pylons so we can see a drop coming in from a distance. Yeah, and this Reaper just really has not been able to do too much. He didn't even get to see the Twilight, although at some level, you kind of assume that that's what's going to be happening. The Blink Stalkers are really strong, especially in this map pool. You can poke and prod here. There's no ramp on the natural, so the Stalkers can poke and just blink back if a tank hits them. You can blink up here. You got a massive space to use, so like one tank here won't really save the top side of your base, much like on Nightshade, honestly. So this Reaper's going to come in, get a little bit of scouting done. Throws a grenade. It's going to burn some of the shields, or excuse me, some of the energy off that shield battery, but it'll be back in no time. And we do have Blink finishing up very soon with a third Nexus halfway done. And this is actually what I really like to see. So he's taking this quite a bit more defensively, but HeroMarine, he wants to bring the pressure a lot earlier. I mean, this is just a straight up 3 racks bio push, really. Like this is just a straight up, I want to kill you real and quick. And I'm not actually 100% sure that Showtime realizes this is what's going on. I think he might be thinking that HeroMarine is going to do something a little cheeky or like a mine drop like you would expect, but that's not the case. These Stalkers will not be able to save this. The Sentry just used a hallucination, so he actually doesn't even have a force field available. I don't even know if he needs to go for the third base. The Robo's right here. Yeah, he can just stim. Pushes right up. That robotics facility is so important. Whether it's going to be the Observers or the Immortals or the Warp Prisms or oh my, he kills it. There's only one force field available. Okay, he has a second. But enough units are able to squeeze through. These Stalkers are still taking a beating, and now the probes are going to be available for free farm. And I think any worker kill here is going to be absolutely fantastic. I will say, if Showtime can stabilize, having the third Nexus done is going to be really, really important. This army's going to need to stim again to fight against these Stalkers. He doesn't want to do that. He's trying to run away. He's drawing another wave of units out. He's hoping that he can't retreat back to the natural where those probes are going to be able to help defend. But the other downside of this type of strategy, he doesn't actually have the tech that he needs to vault himself forward past this point. He does have a good amount of production with the 5 barracks. He's going straight to 5 racks on 2 bases. He's already had these 3 racks. He's got stim. He's got combat shield. He's got concussive shells. But you don't have the engineering bay upgrades all done yet. He's actually going for plus... this has to be a mistake. He's going for +1 armor, right? He doesn't have... He's going for +1 armor off this eBay. That doesn't really do a whole lot versus Protoss. It actually doesn't. Definitely interesting decision there. But the starport comes in very late. However, when you have this many units, it's very hard for the Protoss to poke you with the Stalkers. And I think the bigger problem right now is because that robotics facility was killed, yes, he rebuilt it, but there's no Robo Bay. There's no Robo Bay. There's no Immortals. He's getting charged, but it's not done yet. Actually, I mean, if he gets +1 armor and HeroMarine pushes him with no attack upgrades, then the Zealots will be hard to kill. So I actually think charge lots are a really good move here. You definitely don't want to stim your whole army for 4 Stalkers. So you got to be cautious there. That's going to make you move slower. So here come the medevacs. Now he's ready to try and do round 2. And it's possible that he kills him here. But I think he might regret having gone for +1 armor instead of attack. Because those Zealots are going to take a lot less damage. I mean, they start with 1 armor by default, right? So the Marine only does 5 damage per hit. But now he's going to have +1. And there's no attack upgrades for HeroMarine. So he's going to do 4 damage a hit to a Zealot. Now tell me what 100 divided by 4 is, right? It's going to be tough. It's going to be a lot more hits required than if he was able to do 6 damage if he had gone for +1 attack to start. But maybe it's some sort of weird meme thing I don't know about. I don't know. With this many force fields though, and this many +1 armor Zealots, I don't think there's any chance he's going to crack this open anytime soon. In fact, if Showtime realized that he went for armor first, I would actually rush +2 armor if I was the Protoss in this situation. And then your army is going to actually just be unkillable for a little while. But he's trying to get that attack upgrade. I can't blame him for that either. It's still an okay choice. The number of hits to kill Terran units isn't grossly affected by the Terran players' armor upgrades. Oh my god! Don't go there. Look at this observer. Beautiful. I was about to lose it. He's got a massive bio army, though. He's got 31 Marines and 16 Marauders. If he had +1 attack, I think he could have actually tried to do something there, but... 4th base is going up for Showtime. 3rd has only just landed. And now, that armor upgrade advantage is going to be real nice. He's got a bunch of Zealots warping inside the main base of HeroMarine. He's going for the spotter depot first. He's going to pull back some of those Zealots. Almost. Couldn't quite save that one. But he's got a big army ready to hit the 3rd. And this scares me because the medevacs aren't here. These 2 medevacs are just chilling over here. These 2 medevacs are here. These 2 are here. Is he going to try and catch the army? He does have the stalkers here. He pre-popped the Guardian shield like he was looking for the army, but couldn't find it. Yeah, he's got a lot of medevacs, though. If he can cull the medevac count. Like, this is a really big, beefy bio army. Here come the Zealots charging forward. That choke point you definitely don't want to try. You definitely don't want to get sandwiched over there. He lifts the command center to increase the amount of room that he has to run around the force field. He's got a Liberator, 2 Liberators here going into the Stalkers, the Zealots with the SCVs engaging in hand-to-hand combat. There's just so much bio. I don't even know if it matters anymore. This is an insane amount of units for HeroMarine. He's still at 90 army supply. 23 Marines, 16 Marauders. Gets the Observer on the way out. The Immortals are saved by the Prism. But he did lose a good amount of SCVs, but the Protoss doesn't actually have that many probes. He's not mining the gases here. He doesn't actually have full... He's missing 1 here, missing that gas. It's only 57 probes to 51. And when you factor in mules, the Terran player should be making it rain. Or at the very least, they ain't behind economically. Break the rocks. The force fields are definitely the #1 threat at this point in time. Widow Mines are going to be tremendously good against the Zealots as long as he doesn't get baited onto himself. They are starting to burrow up. If he can just land a few of those hits. Yeah, I don't think he ever got that Observer back. I don't know if he has any other ones out there. Sorry, I'm trying to keep my camera on the fight instead of looking for the Observer. My apologies. But he's got a really good staging ground now. He's got Widow Mines underneath Liberators, which is, you know, it's like my favorite part of JoJo's. You know, Diamond is unbreakable. And he's going to try and push through into the mines and the Liberators, and tons of damage pouring down from the skies of HeroMarine. One of them still alive. Just the Immortals trying to hold on. Once they're dead, these Stalkers have no chance against this many Marines and Marauders. The shield batteries are out of energy. He's trying to warp Zealots into the face of his opponent. He's stutter-stepping backwards with that Prism, with that Micro, but the Liberator's going to seize now over the mineral line. It's too much. GG. HeroMarine goes up 2-0. Damn. 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 All right. Let you know when we're in the lobby for game 3. We're in the lobby. It's time. All right. This could be it. I'm not going to lie. A little bit surprised. I definitely think Showtime had a chance to grab the first game. A big opportunity there. And you know what? HeroMarine, you can go +1 armor to start as many times as you want. You can go +1 armor as many times as you want. Do it. It's all good, bro. I'm an idiot. If you can win games like that, going for armor instead of attack, I'm not going to question anything that you do for the rest of my life. In the top right, he's Big Gabe. In the bottom left, it is Showtime. So let's see what happens. Is Gabe going to be able to close it out and claim another ESL Pro Tour weekly title? Or will it be Showtime? I mean, they raised the prize pool for these events quite a bit. I don't know the exact numbers, but I believe they've raised the first place prize over $100 and possibly second place as well. I want to say the total prize pool is somewhere like $200 or $300, but like I said, this is actually my first weekend back casting these, or first Monday back casting these. Like I said, I didn't have internet for a little while, but it's really good to be back. I hope you guys have been enjoying the cast. In case this is the last game, I want to say a big thank you to everybody who tuned in to watch the games on my channel. I really appreciate it. I know I've said some stupid shit in the past, and I gave a lot of people good reasons to hate me. I'm sorry for being a dick. Thank you guys so much, everybody that comes in here and gives me the time of day to listen to what I have to say about StarCraft, and hopefully you've been enjoying my commentary. Hopefully I've been able to either entertain you or impart some knowledge that you find valuable. Or not valuable. Maybe you just find it funny. In my mind, funny is valuable. So there's that. Now, this was a Nexus before Cybercore build this time around. So he's playing a little bit more economically. Not really worried about getting cheesed, it would seem. He's got that main base saturated. Stalker is going to be coming out. We have the Reaper on the way again for HeroMarine. And it is going to be coming out around the same time as the Stalker. So being able to get damage done, highly unlikely. Because of the delay in the Cybercore with this type of build, there is a chance he could kill a probe. But Stalker is going to push him back. He doesn't want to risk it. He really doesn't want to lose the Reaper. The main reason for that is, I mean, it's a 50 gas unit, right? There are other ways to try and kill probes. But the reason why you use this Reaper is because scans, man. You don't want to use a scan. The last thing a Terran player wants to do is scan the Protoss in this type of situation. You absolutely do not want to have to scan the Protoss if you can avoid it. So you want to get that Reaper in. He actually, funnily enough, even from that blocked position, he could see the Twilight. That's big. He didn't see the Robo, but honestly, not the end of the world. It's nice to know something. If it was if he had seen a Stargate, right, he would have had a completely different frame of mind moving forward. Excuse me. I'm out of water. He's got a gate on the low ground. We have a Dark Shrine though, and this is actually quite interesting. So he's got the Dark Shrine set up, and you know, in Terran vs Protoss, there's not a lot of builds that naturally give you detection. For a Terran player to get detection, you usually have to go kind of out of your way. And the Stalker with the Adept, if he tries to just click this Reaper to go back into the main, it will die if these two units are still here. There's like a 0% chance his Reaper gets in. And if he scans here right now, he might not have a scan for the Dark Templar. It's just tricky. Terran players don't want to scan because the way that this matchup is, it's an asymmetrical balance that Terran has less workers, but the income is still similar because of the mules. So if you scan instead of muling, you just have way less income than the Protoss player. So that's, you know, it puts the onus on the Terran to be aware of what's happening with either their harassment units or their initial scout, because if you don't play super defensively, he doesn't know. He doesn't know. DTs are about to come to his base. He has one scan available. He's almost got enough energy to scan again on his other command center. If he drops this mule, though, there's some pretty big possibilities. One's going to the natural and two to the main. It's closed off his ramp. All right, well, he had the energy saved here, so that was very good of him. Did he get to see it? No, I think he's just realized that something fishy is going on, but the DTs are here. He will have enough energy for another scan soon. It's actually very patient to have held the natural base scan for so long. He just moved all of his SCVs away rather than try to scan both bases, which is nice. But now the problem becomes, without a Raven, without a Raven and without an engineering bay to build missile turrets, yeah, he's going to try to build a Raven now. All he can do is keep scanning. There's another scan, and he has another scan available in the natural soon. But he's never going to be able to go outside of his base. He's never going to be able to leave, do anything until he has some sort of permanent detection in play. As long as he keeps HeroMarine scanning like this, HeroMarine can't leave his base, because then he can just get more stuff warped into his main or his natural, right? This is a really hard spot to be in as a Terran, and he actually doesn't have gas. He spent his gas on that tank, the last tank that he had built right beforehand, and he actually wasn't mining gas because of the DT in his main. So he's only just now starting the Raven. And this DT hacking and whacking and smacking, chopping that meat. Look at that. He's like, you know what? I'm going to drop the DT on the tank. Let me just see if I can snipe the siege tank. Whatever. He can see how much energy the command center has. He will be able to scan in 3, 2, 1. Now he has a scan. So he's going to try and come down and grab this Dark Templar. And Showtime says, actually, I'm out. Peace. He's got a Liberator in play still. This medevac is no longer going to be able to do anything. There's no blink. There is charge. So counterattacking would be very, very silly. And that's what sucks, because HeroMarine wants to counterattack, but he doesn't have stim. He has a tank. He has a tank, because the DT sniped one. He's going to drop another DT here. There are turrets up now. He has a turret in the main base, but he doesn't have units here. So he's going to have to bring something back or try to fight with the SCVs, and then you just hold position in between 2 mineral patches, like right there, and then, yeah, you can't do anything. But the bigger problem, he's got SCVs, Marines, and a tank, but he's got a Colossus. He's got a second one coming out, and he has charge. He has charge. I mean, if he can hit this army with a Dorito cannon, I think that would be his best chance. I mean, Big Gabe can still win this game, but it's going to be hard. He's got to get this Liberator in the main. I would put the Liberator on the main. And then if you're going to try and fight these Zealots with the force fields, oh man, yeah, the force fields are the problem too. You got to be really careful about hitting like with the Dorito cannon. Then you could kill those Zealots super fast. But okay, the main base Liberator forced to warp in there. Interference Matrix on the Colossus. Okay, I don't mind that at all. He's going to use that to buy himself a moment to grab, to try and grab a bunker over here. Now the Interference Matrix is going to come to an end, but he kind of situated. Yeah, he just gives up. GG. Well played. Showtime draws blood. Well done there by Showtime. And we're going to take it to a game number 4, ladies and gentlemen. Very exciting times. What a fantastic match we've had so far. Really good use of the Dark Templar and punishing Gabe. Most Terran builds versus Protoss, you don't really ever open with a Raven. You don't open with Ravens versus Protoss. It's just not a thing. So it's unfortunate, but that's the way love goes. That's the way love goes. Sorry, I'm trying to eat a little lunch in between the games. I want to give a big thank you to McMurphy for his Prime sub, Areas 567 for the 3-month sub, and Arek for the 36-month resub. He hit 3 years during a stream where I have 2-minute delay, so I can't really talk to people that effectively, but thank you. I really appreciate it. We're joining the game. It's counting down, and it is loading. Let's go. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Still match point here for HeroMarine in the bottom left. Our blue Terran player. But clawing his way back. In the top right, some cheeky dank Templar. It's showtime. 2 German powerhouses going up against each other. Will D. Mauer be able to stop Big Gabe? Is this like an Attack on Titan? Could you meme that, right? The big guy is Gabe, and then the wall or whatever that they climb over. I've never watched the anime. I'm sorry. I've seen some videos of it. Gas before Gateway. Unusual, by the way. I feel like the guy that does all those really cool anime edits on SC Reddit, I feel like there's a big missed opportunity. I don't know. Then again, I don't watch that show, so I don't actually know who wins. So I guess the results kind of need to line up with what happens in this match. But yeah, that's a tough game. Yeah. As Guy in the chat says, you don't just blindly build an engineering bay and a turret if there's no need to. You don't. No. I mean, the resources that it costs to build an engineering bay is like 150, 160 minerals when you take into account mining time. And then the missile turret costs about 100 minerals or a little bit more than that because of the mining time as well. So it's difficult. It's very difficult to just make that investment without knowing what's going on. unless you're doing something like really fast third command center. But even then, you might still prefer to have another barracks, you know, and then have a couple more units. I think back to the build that HeroMarine did on Simulacrum, right? With the really fast 3 racks and no medevacs, where he just pushed with a bunch of Marauders and Marines, you know what I mean? So, I don't know. I feel like there's varying degrees, right, of which way you can try to take that. But it's hard. Dark Templar aren't really like crazy in the meta. You know, DTs exist in this special place where they're never in the meta and they're never out of the meta. Like, if that makes sense. Like, DTs, they just come and go. You know, Dark Templars will always win you random free games, and they will always lose you random games where your opponent scouts them, and you're like, well, I have nothing else, and, you know, I'm just gonna get punished for this, right? Like, oh, he BC rushed me while I was DT rushing. And he has a wall, so I can't. He's just repairing the wall, and a battlecruiser killed all my probes, right? And then at the same time, you could be like, well, he didn't raise his depot, and I had a shield battery with like 6 stalkers, and I won the game with the DT anyway, right? Like, you know, DTs are very much so that kind of wild card unit that is fun to watch, very frustrating to play against, and as somebody who's a Masters 1 Protoss, very fun to kill people with. So yeah. Yeah, just fun. It's just fun times. So we have a gateway going up at the front. That quick tech setup, right? I mean, he got the Stargate, and he hallucinates an Oracle. So that's kind of odd, right? Because you're like, oh, I'm going to make him think that I'm going Stargate, but you are going Stargate. But I think perhaps even more importantly is he wants this Oracle to die. You kind of want this Oracle to either eat a mine shot or get killed by Marines. Because if the Terran player thinks that you don't have a Stargate, you might be able to catch them with the Phoenix. I don't know. Rotterdam would probably be a pretty big fan of taking the game in this direction. I mean, he's got Hellions. He's got the Marines. We've actually seen this build from him in one of the earlier matches out of HeroMarine today. Yeah. To answer the guy in the chat's other question as this attack hits, yeah. No, I'm a kind of just a silly, funny guy on my stream, and when I'm casting, I just try to be professional, that's all. So the probes are going to get some damage. There's actually a couple of probes that are like 1 hit away from being killed. The Hellions get 5 of them. The Marines are able to grab a Stalker and then have to pull back, but you got to be careful. Those Phoenix, see, that's kind of the advantage of this build. He does take some damage, but he's still ahead a little bit in the probe count. And he's 100% guaranteed to kill this medevac because Phoenix. There is not a single unit that Terran can make that is faster than a Phoenix. So if you don't have enough to kill them or ward them off, you will lose everything when you move out on the map. And that's just the way it is. You have to be cautious about that. And that's what the fake Oracle can do. It can give you kind of that false sense of security. Now the Phoenix come in, they harass. It's also nice because it gives the ability here for Showtime to scout and see what's going on. And he can poke in and be like, oh, is this some sort of weird thing? Like, this is what Showtime has seen, right? Like, oh, is this mech? No. No, the Phoenix will be able to poke in. He sees that there's lots of Marines. So we have a robotics bay coming in. The observer is almost done. How much mining time is lost during the life of a scouting worker? Well, I'm gonna tell you something. I'm gonna tell you my opinions on this. A scouting worker has a very specific purpose. And if the scouting worker is doing that job, if it's not just sitting idle, then you're not losing resources for it, in my opinion. Choosing not to scout is a greedy play that gives you an extra mining worker. At least that's my personal philosophy. I'm sure not everybody agrees, but if you asked for my analysis, I would tell you that if you go with an SCV scout and you see what your opponent is doing and your SCV dies, your SCV has done its job, and I do not believe in this weird myth that you're like, oh, you lost X amount of resources the SCV could have infinitely mined throughout its life if it had never been sent out to scout. I'm like, no, because there's different, there's different values that people will assign to different variables, right? It's kind of like if you order a second cheeseburger and you don't eat it and you put it in your fridge, right? And then maybe it goes bad and you throw it out. Well, like, you got it in case you needed it, right? In case you wanted it. You didn't want to eat the first cheeseburger and be like, damn, I'm still hungry. Well, I should have ordered another one, right? At least that's me trying to explain the whole worker scout thing. I personally don't think too much of it. Hopefully that's a somewhat reasonable answer to your question. So Blink is coming in. We've already got 2 Colossi out. The Phoenix are going to make it hard to try and push too much. Lifts up the mine before it can actually burrow. These Zealots that get warped in will not really do anything because they don't have, they don't really have charge, right? No. The Colossus, Big Daddy Colossus, will push the Marines back. But now you want to get the Phoenix there. However, HeroMarine is just all over the place somehow. He's going to get force fielded off the 3rd, but he's in the main. He unpowers the pylon. Excuse me, he unpowers the Twilight Council, so Blink isn't on the way anymore. And there is a Colossus coming here, but he could spread out. He's going to try and get the Colossus with just Marines inside of the main base, and he does. And honestly, forget the Stalkers. I would just start shooting at the probes here. Really good pickoff by HeroMarine. Very scrappy game that we've got. As he goes to plant his 3rd base, he's getting some Widow Mines out from that factory, getting his +1 armor. He's already got the attack. Now, you do want to repower that because the Stalkers still don't have Blink. But I'm not really sure. I mean, 9 Marauders. If he could get the Marauders to shoot at the Colossi, that'd be great. But I do expect to see Force Fields, Guardian Shield, all that good stuff to keep these units alive. Phoenix are kind of flying around. It's very nice, actually. He gets to see where the army is. It's very hard to catch Phoenix. Even if you stim your Marines, they will not catch them. So unless they fly into you, it's tough. He's got the observer coverage here. Fantastic use of both of them. Absolutely no dead zones. He's got better cell coverage than me. Ghost Academy coming in. So HeroMarine's lining up all of his ducks in a row. He wants to be able to make sure that he's not going to get caught off guard by anything. Storm transition. And frankly speaking, Ghosts are always good versus Protoss. Every Protoss unit has shields. And Protoss also has the least reliable detection in StarCraft, so there's that as well. If you can get rid of the observers, cloaked ghosts, even if there's no Templar, even if they don't EMP at all, if you have a couple cloaked ghosts able to just shoot away at an army, they do a lot of damage to those zealots, sentries, everything else. This Widow Mine, oh, that looked weird. That looked funky for a second. This Widow Mine's on the run. He's trying to get out of there. HeroMarine sees that the army is still kind of by the 3rd base. He wants to push up over here. He scans. Now, this is where he's got to make that choice. How far away is he going to try and push in? He chooses to step back. Ah, man, actually kind of surprised. I guess the delay from earlier, he needs to get charged. He's got a little bit oversaturation here, but he has to get charged. He's getting Templar Archives up. Those Zealots being slow is definitely not good. It's going to reach the point where he could kite this army to death because the Stalkers can't blink into the bio and the Zealots, they can't do anything. So as long as he's got the Vikings somewhat over the bio, the Zealots will never be able to push him back. There's actually not a lot of Stalkers over here either. This is an opportunity. This is a big opportunity for HeroMarine. He gets an EMP on all of the Zealots. Massive depowering of the shields there. Now, it's not damage until he can actually start killing stuff with it, as they are going to start to restore those shields pretty quickly. But that 4th base, it's under fire. The Vikings are chilling on the top side. And as you can see, the Stalkers just can't stand up to that army. The Zealots can't do anything. He's got charge halfway done. The Zealots are useless. They're just sitting here. They're just fodder. The Stalkers are moving faster than the Zealots, so it's actually messing up the spacing of his army. And now the Vikings got 1 Colossus down, 2nd Colossus dead, and the 3rd one to fall shortly after. He's trying to add Archons, but he doesn't have Storm. The bio, the Vikings landing onto the ground, pushing non-stop. These Zealots are absolutely no threat to these forces whatsoever. Just keep landing those Vikings, keep rallying across. I do not know how he's going to be able to stop him, and I don't think that he can. HeroMarine looking to take another EPT victory right here, ladies and gentlemen. GG! He's done it. 3-1 victory over Showtime. An absolutely dominant performance by HeroMarine in today's EPT.